Good day, everybody. This is Ratish Pandey, and I'm Action Coach. And along with me is Ankit Jaipuria, a serial entrepreneur, if I may, in the startup domain, in the tech fashion industry, as he calls himself. But I let Ankit introduce himself. Ankit, over to you, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Ratish. I am Ankit. I'm founder of company called Zyod. It's a fashion manufacturing platform where we are building a two-sided marketplace, serving fashion brands globally and giving them a tech-enabled manufacturing design to delivery service.
Great. And I believe this is not your first venture.
Yeah. So I have been into startups for a while. Business is something which runs close to my heart, seeing it since my childhood. So before that, I did a small pilot in the same ecosystem where I wanted to explore the problem. The name was UCOM. So ran that as a pilot for about 10 months or so, and eventually decided to make a full-blown startup and started Zyod.
Okay, great. So let's get into and I'm sure with the experience that you have, and more specifically with the exits that you've got, a lot of people would be interested in getting a fair amount of wisdom in this from this conversation. So let me first ask you a very interesting question, because uh, you know even with your existing company, you have sort of grown leaps and bounds. So, what do you attribute your growth to, Ankit? What is that magic mantra?
I think growth comes from having your vision aligned with the team. First of all, in an early stage company, people work towards the solution, and you have to build a team which is excited about the problem. The second is to make it very objective. And I usually follow a method of building OKRs and KPIs. So that basically helps give very objective metrics for each uh, employee, each team member, what they have to achieve. And there you can have a very regular governance. Like in Zyod, we usually have a weekly governance of where we are at KPI and have a reflection and introspection on a weekly basis to achieve that bigger goal and break it down into small targets.
Brilliant. And I think I'll I like to sort of delve deeper into this ownership that you're building within your employees, because what I heard was you attribute your growth to the employee ownership that sort of comes, and you sort of link it to the fact that underlying that ownership is also the PKR and the KPIs that each employee carries. So talk to me a little bit about that. How do you build ownership within your employees? And I believe you have how many employees today?
Currently, we are about 90 plus people in the team now.
Yeah. So talk to me about this ownership, which I'm sure every SME entrepreneur gets challenged with.
No, absolutely. I think ownership comes from first building that trust. I think what I have seen a major pitfall in many orgs, many companies that I've been part of, where people, especially reporting managers or people who are driving, they are still not having that trust towards any employee, any reportee to get that thing done. So I think their ownership comes from first being very clear in what your requirement is. Second, putting it with a deadline that this is the deadline that you want that objective to be completed by. Third, giving it to the right person. I think once these three aspects are covered, you having that trust that this has to be done, this will be done. And a good way to keep on driving this is to assign track, improve. A lot of times tracking is something which gets a little under emphasized. And I have like one mantra for this. If you want to improve a metric, start tracking it. You will eventually improve it.
Yeah. So you improve what you measure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that tracking, or, some people call it check-ins, but basically, having the check-in process really ensures that the employee is on top of his or her game. Great. So you today employ about 90 odd people. What's your biggest learning as an employer, not as an entrepreneur, as an employer? What's your biggest learning that you
Uh,
would want to share?
I think uh, a, one biggest learning as an employer is that people are now running their families, their livelihoods, and want that sort of stability and dependability on a company. And as an employer, you have to ensure that you are able to pass on that belongingness, not just professionally, but personally as well. I think tough empathy is something that I have been learning as an employer, where you understand the problems that people are facing and also be very objective in making decisions.
Hmm. So empathize, but at the same time, bring in the objectivity, right?
Yes.
Great. System one, system two thinking, all about it. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about you run a startup. I'm sure there's a fair amount of time demand on your work schedule. So when do you start your day and when do you wrap it up, Ankit?
I think this has been a good learning for me on this aspect. See, I have started waking up early because I realize that morning is something where you can control a lot of your day, because as the day ends, given in an early stage high growth startup, you tend to have a lot of chaos by the end. So I think that has been one change that I have done. So I usually wake up at 6:30, spend an hour to sort of on my body, on my health, a bit of exercise, freshen up, and get some news reading. I have been fond of reading Economic Times since 3-4 years. So that's something which is in my habit. Then I'm usually the first one to reach office. I try to reach office early, 9:30, 9:45 is what I usually reach. uh, Plan the day, tend to have all my scheduled meetings by afternoon, and post afternoon till evening, I keep it open for any new ideas, anything that has to be solved. And evenings are usually to little bit introspect, spend a bit of time with friends and family, and get uh, talks other than fashion to keep me thinking outside the box as well.
Correct. I think you just can't be just in your domain and in your industry. You need to sort of uh, figure out and keep your eyes and ears open as to what else is happening. Right?
Yes.
So good. Great. And I guess you've sort of pretty much laid it out well for yourself. And I must compliment you on, the morning schedule, because a lot of people say, right, if you start off your morning well, your day ends well. So great stuff, Ankit. Another interesting question, and this is about, people believe, hey, he's an entrepreneur, he's doing so well. But really, tell me, what are the misconceptions, one or two, that people have about running businesses?
I
So,
think, yeah, I was too early to get onto that question, but I think, see, the major difference is there is a lot of, uh, I would say, things that I am not doing vis-a-vis having seeing my peers, given that I'm still early in my age, people are still having that I would say freedom to shut down, let's say on weekends, on days where they are not having the right state of mind to work. I think that is one big thing that I have seen, that 24/7 I have to be on. Given that when you are at the top of the organization, there could be anyone and anything which could come to you to get the decision or things to be resolved for. And I think that is by far the biggest sort of change that I have seen, where I am mentally active on duty all the time. I might not be working, but if I get a call or a ring, I'm available and I can switch my brains to go for work.
Yeah. So I love that thought, mentally active all the time with your antennas up as to what is happening in the business.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you another question, which is about people, because I believe a lot of success you found with having those 90 plus people who are great, great, following the vision that you've laid out for them. So what qualities would you, one or two that you would want to talk about that, would really foster this positivity in the organization within the employees?
I think one is that there should be a sense of trust and dependability in the organization, not just in a team scenario, let's say a manager or a reportee, but also cross-functional teams, where that trust is very important, where you have given any work, and in any organization, there is functional dependency. Sales is dependent on marketing, customer experience is dependent on fulfillment or delivery in my scenario. So cross-functional trust is one of the most important things that you have to nurture and build. The simple solution to do it is having clear accountability defined and then trusting the team to do it. I think second is, especially from a startup point of view, see, it's a very high growth stage where the pressure is a lot. So you should have regular open forums where people feel connected to the overall vision, overall culture of the organization. A lot of time what happens in organizations is, as you are a 10-20 member team, people are connected. But as it scales up, there are multiple tiers that gets developed, and people don't have that sort of vision, alignment towards the vision. See, in the scenario that we are in, no one is primarily working just for salaries or wages. People want purpose, especially the Gen Z crowd that has been coming in. And as an organization, the second most important thing that I feel is to build that vision, build that culture towards a purpose that is bigger than all of us.
Well said. And I love the thought that when you're attracting Gen Z, you have to attract them with the purpose and not really the salary that they get at the end of the month. Interesting. Very well said. I'm sure this will hold you in great stead as you go forward.
Thank you.
I can, and the thought that you brought up, that and I'm sure you'll be doing town halls, but despite running town halls, despite running whatever you can do, as you build tiers, it becomes challenging to sort of, get even every employee aligned to the purpose. Great. So before I close this interview, I wanted to congratulate you on the 30 under 30 award that entrepreneur.com gave you. So that is really creditable. And I'm sure you're going to go places as you continue to build your existing startup. And I look forward to, following you is where your success is taking you.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Any last words? Anything that I may have missed asking you?
I think we are in a golden decade for India. I think the next decade is India, India, India. So I think what I would just say to the audience is this is the right opportunity. We are in a golden era. Just pick on something and get your head down and work on it. And everything else will follow.
Great. So pick the right idea and then just let the rubber hit the road. Huh?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Atish.